It's Wednesday night, and that means it's time for the Lamar Thomas Show, featuring the greatest receiver in the history of college football. Just ask him, Lamar Thomas.
I was born in Ocala, Florida. I moved to Gainesville to go to high school. Been recruited probably since the 9th grade, illegally, I might add, by the University of Florida. I still can remember Coach Solinger, Don Solinger, coming out to our practice one day. Here it is, this guy comes out in the University of Miami jacket, and I said, I can't believe that's Miami out here. And, you know, I wanted to go up and say, hey, I'm Lamar Thomas. And actually, I did walk up to him and I said, hey, Coach, I'm Lamar Thomas. And he said, I know. And that was the start of my relationship with the University of Miami.
Patton, another good block, and Toretto lays it out. Touchdown, Miami.
You come down here, you'll be on TV every weekend, dominating. I thought about it. I said, man, where do I sign? My mom, on Saturday mornings, I would wake up and she'd be holding my hand. I thought she was the weirdest lady in the world. But she was holding my hands and she would be rubbing them and saying, one day these hands are gonna make you a lot of money. She was smart.
So now, here he is, the great one, along with co-host Gary Ferman of CaneSport.com, Lamar Thomas.
Good evening, Lamar. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, Gary. Gary Ferman.
And happy Thanksgiving to all of you guys out there in the Canes Nation. Welcome to the Thanksgiving special edition of the Lamar Thomas Show. As you can see, Lamar is not at Caneswear tonight, but that does not mean that tonight's show is not presented by Caneswear. It is, as it is every single week. And Black Friday coming up this weekend, LT. Great time for the Canes fan to hit up Caneswear. Sure, they'll have all kinds of specials rocking and rolling this weekend. You could see a lot of the inventory behind me. They have a little bit of everything there at Caneswear for you. And if it's got a U logo on it, they probably have it. So put them right at the top of your Black Friday list. You can go to the store, 2655 South University Drive in Davie if you live in South Florida, or if you don't, or even if you do, actually, you can go to caneswear.com and load up on Canes gear for all your friends and family, and make it a Canes Christmas and Canes Hanukkah this year. And hopefully, Lamar, there will be a lot to celebrate.
That's right.
It's crazy, man. It's all on the line Saturday at the Carrier Dome, man. A flashback to the old Big East days where we used to go to Syracuse and the games would have such high stakes. And I remember just like yesterday sitting there for Donovan McNabb's final game. And
Chris Getney.
Yeah. That was as electric of a place as I've ever been that night. You know, in a different kind of way. It was like the Orange Bowl game in 1984, which was just like, it was so unique in just the whole atmosphere. And then, you know, of course, you know, you guys in the 80s and 90s had such great games, but I don't know that this one will rival a national championship game or anything like that, but it seems like it has the stakes, LT.
Man, I mean, that game itself for us was a big game because we needed to win that game. But this game is bigger. I really believe this game is bigger because here it is. The University of Miami has an opportunity to do something to go to the ACC championship. And what has been the one knock on the University of Miami from other fans? Oh, you haven't done anything. You haven't been to the championship but one time and you got blown out, or all that other stuff they say. So this is a great opportunity for the Canes to go up there and play in that weird environment. And when I say weird, it's almost like playing in a arena football league game. I mean, it is a weird environment. Now, I got to tell you, Gary, and fans out there and viewers, my first official visit was to Syracuse. It was.
Wow, really?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Coach McPherson, I think his name was.
Yeah, John McPherson, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Pasqualoni,
Yeah.
and all those people. I met all those people, but the one mistake they made was flying me up there as it was snowing. And when I saw the snow, I said one thing: when is my return flight? But it's a weird environment, Gary. I mean, the fans are right up on you. It's almost like again, it's like playing an arena league almost. I mean, the you're on the sideline, the fans are up high, and you're looking up into the dome, the white dome. It almost kind of felt like you weren't really playing football until you get hit. And then you wake up and say, this is football. But it is, they get loud in there. And I'm sure with their coach, Fran, he's talking a little, subtle jabs. This will be their best season in a long time if they're able to pull this off. So he's going to have those fans and those Syracuse alum there. And it's going to be a raucous environment. It really, truly is.
Other than ruining Miami's season, Syracuse isn't really playing for a whole heck of a lot. They're already bowl eligible. They're not in the ACC race or anything like that. They're just playing out the string here. Do you think that works a little bit to Miami's advantage?
Well, I mean, it's Miami. And let's be honest. Everybody wants to beat Miami and to be able to knock them out of maybe a race or just put that little chink in the armor.
Oh, they're knocking them out. If the Syracuse wins this game, Miami's out.
So this is a great opportunity for Syracuse, and they're going to be. I mean, everything works to their favor right now as far as being there. I mean, the weather's going to be terrible outside. I'm pretty sure not many Miami fans are going to be traveling that way. They're going to try, but I heard it's going to be some bad weather, and I mean, this is you still got to play the game, and those fans are in the stands. They're not on that field, and one thing we do have for us is a good team. So we're going to put our good team against their okay team, and we're going to see what happens.
I think Mario's kind of been preparing for this game for a while. I really do. Obviously the master plan got derailed when they lost at Georgia Tech. That was not in the plan.
Right.
But you just see little things like guys coming back off injury just in time for this game. Young players emerging. Hello, Mr. Jordan Lyle.
Hello.
At just the right point in the season. Just little subtle things that show you that Miami has been building to this moment. And they just got to listen. There's no excuses or anything. I mean, they have to get this done on Saturday. I mean, you don't get this done on Saturday. Everything to this point, we could sit here and play games and try to put a happy face on it. There's no happy face on it, LT. We had a lot of fun with Cam Ward, and a few of those games were way more exciting than they needed to be, and all that. But like, you come out on the wrong side of the scoreboard Saturday. I mean, all that might as well not have happened. I mean, I hate to be so harsh about it, but
no, you're right. You're right on point, Gary. I mean, this is because what's going to happen is the naysayers are going to say that we just weren't ready, or we just weren't as good as we thought. And I tell you, this is a good team, man. As we talk further into the game about the Wake Forest game, great
great adjustments in the second half. You know, I've said it all year long. Guidry has made great adjustments in the second half. In the first half, he's kind of maybe feeling them out or whatever, but you know, he's made the stops when he's had to, and it was great to see some blitzes, some guys getting to the quarterback. I mean, Wake Forest looked shocked in the second half. First half, they did some things. We blew a coverage. You know, they had the kick return. They had some plays. They have a good. That number one is a good player, and I'm happy. I got to tell you, Garrett, and this. I never cheer for an injury, but as he was walking to the locker room, I was like, "Stay in the locker room. Stay in there. Don't come back out after that kick return." And when he came back out, he was a different player. But man, Miami, boy, they got on the roll on defense. You know, the special teams, obviously the kick return, but they had the fumble on the kickoff where we picked it up. Defense had some sacks. They put us in good situations, and we were able to do some good things on offense. And of course, Jordan Lyle being in there, as you talked about earlier, man, he is explosive, powerful, and he gives us that edge. Not saying that those guys don't, because they all have different running styles. Those two guys are kind of power guys. I give Mark Fletcher a little bit more shiftiness than Martinez, but Lyle, man, he is.
Lyle's a different creature, man.
He's fun to watch.
He is gonna be next year, I think, off the charts. I think he'll be one of the best running backs in the country if they give him the opportunity to be that, and I think they will next year. I don't think there's any holding him back next year. This year they had he'll get paid.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You don't have to worry about Jordan Lyle. He'll get paid.
I might have a couple hundreds in my pocket to show him out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need him.
I mean, listen, you know, they've been, you know, Mario was at St. Thomas this past week, and you know, there's a lot of talk out there that Miami thinks that Jordan Lyle can be, if not the best, certainly one of the best running backs to ever play at Miami. They love him, and you know, this is the right time of year. You know, he's a young kid, a freshman running back. If you try to feature him the whole year, he might get dinged up. He might not be healthy for these biggest moments of the year. This kid is totally healthy for these bigger games at the end of the year. And you didn't know that Fletcher and Martinez were going to make it through healthy as well. So they got a healthy running back room. They got three guys. Mario Cristobal, when he has gotten in these big games in the past, and he's been very good at preparing for these games, but when he gets in these big games, he likes to pound the rock. He likes to, especially when you're on the road, be physical. And you know, I think back to his last year at Oregon when he took that team to Ohio State, and they beat the crap out of Ohio State. Like it was a physical beatdown, and a lot of it was behind the running game. And so I'm thinking that we're going to see a lot of running game on as much as he can get past Cam Ward and Shannon Dawson. You know, Cam Ward's going to want to sling it around and try to somehow get himself back in the Heisman race. But the big best way to beat Syracuse might be to let these running backs carry the show, because you'll keep their offense off the field and limit the number of reps that the defense has to defend in this game, which might not be a bad thing when you consider that Syracuse's strength, which is pass offense, matches up perfectly to Miami's weakness, which is pass defense, LT.
Well, it does. I mean, but it goes along the lines of what you're saying. Keep them off the field and make them. And what happens, guys, I've been around the game a long time, probably not as long as Gary. But
I got a few years on you, unfortunately.
But when you have an offense like that, and I've been around coordinators, when you get behind and you're off the field, they start stressing a little bit. They start trying to get the big play instead of running their offense. You know, it's like playing a Georgia Tech back in the day when they had the triple option. Once you got behind, you start stressing and you get away from your game plan because you're trying. You know, your number of possessions will be limited. So I think it's a great game plan. I love that game plan, and I don't think Syracuse run defense is that good either. So I think it bodes well. I already know we can throw the football around the yard, and I think Cam is going to have also a little axe to grind with these award people, as we'll probably end up talking about a little later, about 3 guys getting snubbed. The Restrepo with the receiver award. That's the Biletnikoff award. He's not on. He's not on there. Borregales, one of the best kickers. I mean, he's been one of the best kickers in college football. You know,
I voted for him. I voted for
what's up with that?
I voted for him.
What's up? And I think the Maxwell, is it the Maxwell? I think it's the Maxwell.
It's a lot of them. There's Davey O'Brien, there's the Maxwell.
Yeah. Well, it's like the poor man's Heisman, maybe. I think that's
I think it was the Maxwell that left him off the finalist list.
And he's not on the finalist list. So I called Gino and I left him a message and said, "You hater, why didn't you vote for him?" And he called me back. "Man, I didn't get the vote. What are you talking about? We don't vote for that." I said, "Okay, I'm just messing with you." Because he won that award and many more awards. So I think he's going to have an axe to grind. I mean, he's a human. And he's had a great year this year. And I think he still wants to show people what he can do. But I also think he wants to win the ball game too. And I give him that. So I think the game plan should be to run the football, but we're not the coordinator. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, this one could be a head coach mandate. I just know how Mario believes in these big games that you got to be able to run the ball. And they got caught at Georgia Tech a little bit, but I could just see him telling Shannon Dawson, like, we got to run the ball this week, like a lot. And they'll still throw it too, obviously, but yeah, I mean, it makes total sense. All right, so let's finish unwrapping the Wake Forest game. Okay, admit it. Okay, when you're watching that first quarter, at those couple plays on defense, you're like all the rest of us up there sitting, oh my God. Okay, you see a play where
I didn't say it along those lines, Gary, but it was kind of the same thing, but I had a little profanity in it. But go
a little more profanity in there. So
yeah,
you see Mish Powell and Darryl Porter Jr. both running after the same receiver and not knowing, not being in firm control of their assignment. One receiver being left by himself. Those 2 guys are running after the motion guy. Okay, that was number one. ESPN isolated that. And coming out of a commercial, showed it on the national telecast, basically making fun of those guys. They were embarrassing them. Like, how could these 2 guys be out there both thinking they're supposed to cover the same guy? Okay, then you get a coverage bust, and they go over the top for the touchdown, and you're sitting there saying they had 2 weeks to prepare for this. They had 2 weeks to talk about communication. And we're busting left and right. And you're thinking this season is about to go up in smoke.
At home. Like those cars did in the parking lot a couple years ago, Dolphin Stadium.
Yeah, remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then almost like magic, it all went away. Like the rest of the game, the defense was rock solid. I thought for the first time, maybe since the Gator game, and I'm Gator game seems like it's 10 years ago now, but
especially to Florida fans, okay, especially to them, they think that was 3 years ago. I have to remind them all the time, and all you fans, please continue to remind them that, hey, you mess around, we'll buy your quarterback. Stop that.
We'll buy your quarterback. So I thought Lance Guidry was back to being Lance Guidry, and he was blitzing, he was dialing it up, he was busting up plays. I felt like I was watching a Lance Guidry defense for the first time in a long time. Might even be the whole season, but I kind of remember a little bit of it in the Gator game. But he clearly this year has not been totally comfortable with his personnel as it relates to his schemes. And he's dialed it back a lot. and I started thinking about it. Okay, like let's talk about this for a minute. Defensive line, Mesidor is playing tackle instead of end, out of position. Bain has been hurt for 4 or 5 games, coming off the injured list. He's not really in shape. He's gained some weight. He's not as quick as he was a year ago. He's not as good on the pass rush as he was a year ago. Tyler Barron has just pulled a total disappearing act after week 2,
and he didn't start.
He played 2 plays, Lamar. He sat on the bench the whole game. Played 2 plays against Wake Forest. So he's flaming out. Kiko Manoa is coming off surgery in the offseason and is clearly not the same guy, and hasn't been the whole year. The other linebacker spot has been in a little bit of disarray. Alderman's been hurt a lot of the year. Wesley Basaint plays good sometimes, doesn't play so great at other times. The safety position, you got Mish Powell, who's not real fast, and Jaden Harris, who's making a lot of mistakes all year. And the corners are supposed to be the weakest spot on the team. So if you're Lance Guidry, okay, like you're going to start blitzing safeties and leaving guys on islands and things like that? No, and he hasn't the whole year. But Wake Forest shut down the passing game, Lamar.
Second half adjustments.
And Lance Guidry let it all go, man.
He's been the king of it all year long. He's made those second half adjustments. And, and I said this last show, you can talk all you want about the Georgia Tech game, but at the end of the day, if you'd have told me that they were only going to score 28 points, I would say we were going to blow them out, right? And let me tell you this, when it had to be done, he got to stop and gave the ball back to the offense, okay? So he's made those proper adjustments throughout it all, with guys being hurt, guys being out of position, guys being young, all these excuses that we could make. He's made the proper adjustments, and he's made some good calls. And it was great to watch our defense run around and make plays, guys getting sacks. I mean, when's the last – I mean, it seems like forever when – going back to maybe the Florida game, okay, when guys were just dominating the offensive line, getting sacks, pressure, forcing the quarterback to throw the ball away. He looked like he was running for his life back there, and it was fun to watch. It was a fun second half. After that kickoff return, it just became a fun game. And here's what I can say about that kickoff return. I haven't seen in a long time Miami guys getting outrun. He hit that sideline, and as he was coming towards me, because I was down there on the sideline, I said to Rohan Marley, who was standing right beside, "Oh, they got the angle."
It looked
and
like
he kept running. And he kept running. And then when he passed me, I said, "Oh, Lord, have mercy." Yeah, that was wow. So they got to figure that one out. I think one of the kids, and I went back and I watched the game, one of the guys, he had a clear shot at him, but the kid made him miss. And once he made him miss, it was, he was striding. So, that's something that they had to clear. They have to clear up, and they have. Obviously, they did when they got the fumble later on in the game. So that was great to see. Great to see those kids come back and take care of that. But, man, that was a fun second half, man. I haven't had that much fun watching the game second half in a long time. Yeah, it was a whiff. I think J. Crew, it was a whiff. And I don't want to say his name. I don't like throwing kids under the bus, but yeah, he missed the tackle. And when he missed the tackle on special teams, you have your gaps. You have where you're supposed to be. And it played out perfect. He cut back to him, and it was one-on-one, and he boom, and gave it to him. So it is what it is. It is what it is. But I'm happy that they recovered, and they did some great things after that.
All right, so all that said now, I just set the scene for my next question to you. So now you're Lance Guidry, and you're feeling pretty good about what happened last week, but and also feeling the pressure of what the assignment is this week, because Syracuse has a pretty good offense and a pretty good passing game, and you better do a damn good job, or this whole season is going up in smoke. So what do you do now? Like, do you keep being Lance Guidry and keep bringing the blitzes and keep doing the stunts and and trying to anticipate plays and blowing things up and tackles for loss and things like that? Or do you go back to what you've been doing all year to protect your secondary and protect your defense and try to eliminate the big play?
Well, I think we should have the advantage as far as our D line against their offensive line. So, and I think that's what he's kind of banked on this whole year. So you don't have to have much pressure. But when you can't get to the quarterback, you got to rattle this guy. I mean, he's obviously shown that he can throw the football around the yard with receivers like Rondé Gasson Jr., who's the tight end, and a couple other guys. He's shown that they throw the football around the yard. And so I think you mix it up a little bit. But, Lance he's when you look back on it, he's kind of felt them out of, in the first half just to see how they kind of played. I mean, hell, USF had a lot of yards in the first half, and they made the proper adjustments. They start bumping the coverage instead of keeping Darryl Porter Jr. on and running that kid crazy all around. They start bumping the coverage a little bit, and that gave him a different look, and I think it confused him. So, he's a great defensive mind. I think now he's feeling more comfortable with those guys, as we saw in that second half. It was fun to watch our defense get to the quarterback again because we hadn't seen it, and it seems like forever. So I think that I'm Guidry. I'm kind of mixing it up a little bit to see how it goes. If we can get there, keep those guys back in. The more guys back in pass coverage can help you. And if we can't get there, hey, send those blitzes because they can get home. I believe they will get home. And once you hit those quarterbacks a couple times, you look at Cal's quarterback, he got hit and he was never the same. He was never the same. So I don't want to see us giving up chunk plays in the first half. Because I think that puts you behind the 8 ball up there in Syracuse with that crowd. Because I anticipate them to have a big crowd. I mean, this is Miami. There's a lot of people from New York came to school at the University of Miami. So I know for years we rubbed it in Syracuse's face. I know my friends, my roommate, he loves rubbing it in all the New Yorkers' face. He's from New York, David Levin. He rubs it in their face all the time. So this is an opportunity for them to come out and try to get us back. So it's going to be a packed house. It's going to be loud. And I don't want to see chunk plays in the beginning. Make them earn it. Make some plays. And then in the second half, do what you do, man. Make the proper adjustments and go after them.
Yeah, you don't want them to lose all this confidence that they built up, in the second part of the game on Saturday. You don't want them losing that confidence. They were thriving on the confidence. It was a really big deal. And then, but the one thing that also really stood out was the coaches finally said enough is enough and essentially benched Tyler Barron. And that was a big move, man, because they paid a lot of money for that kid and through the NIL deal. And there was a lot of talk before the year that he would be a first-round draft pick. And a lot of people thought he would be a first-round draft pick. And he had a great Florida game. He had a really good FAMU game. And he has just disappeared since. Okay. I'd have to double check the stats. I don't know that he even has 1 sack since the FAMU game. And he was gambling. He was not paying attention to his assignments. He wasn't setting the edge. He was really hurting the defense the way he was playing. And they finally said, enough. And they sent him down. But now I wonder what happens this week because they kind of really need him this week. Like they need that outside pass rush. They need that big physical guy on the edge. And, maybe Lamar, it serves as a wake-up call, for him. And he comes back and plays harder and plays smarter and better.
Yeah, I mean, that's what should happen. You would hope that he hasn't dialed it in. And this was a wake-up call, like you said. But, we can't have defensive ends out there playing like that, giving up the edge because they're selfish, going for their own. I mean, I know you're trying to get to the first round. I get it. But at the same time, you got to stay within the defensive scheme. If the guy oversets, you got to go and do your job. You have to stay out there because, as we've seen so many times at the University of Miami, guys giving up that edge and it causes big plays down the field. Those guys can't cover forever, and boom, So I hope it's a wake-up call for him. I really do, because those first 2 games, man, I was like, man, Bain, him, you got
Mesidor.
Mesidor. Man, this is a great D-line. He just hasn't, and I saw in the first time I saw in the USF game when they started putting him in the flat, I was like, whoa. And he looked very much out of place.
Yeah.
Very much out of place. So I hope it's a wake-up call for him, because we definitely need him. We definitely need him.
Well, I know a guy that knows a little bit about setting an edge, and I know a guy that you would never send out in the flat to cover a pass. That's our man, Greg Mark. Welcome to the Lamar Thomas Show, Greg. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fabulous. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
How you doing, Coach?
Doing wonderful, Lamar, man. Wonderful on this Thanksgiving weekend. I just want to give thanks to you guys. Give thanks to where we are, too. We can all be critical on all these things as we sit here, but we do have to give thanks that we're sitting 10-1 right now.
That's right.
That's right. We still got a chance to handle our business and get where we need to get. So that all being said, I agree with everything. I was listening to you all talking. And you're right. I would have loved to drop in the flat. I told Coach Orgeron, I told Coach Carmelowitz and Butch when they were there. I said I can cover anybody, but they just said just go get the quarterback. I said okay. Hey, Coach.
You were called by many of us Mr. Technique. Okay, you were the guy that had the greatest technique of them all, and you were in the right place at all the right times. You got to have your defensive ends have to be that way. Am I correct? Because if you're not, it takes away the integrity of the defense and what you're trying to get done.
You're 100%. Lamar, it's the same thing as running routes. Either you're a precise route runner or you just got crazy athletic ability. And you get away without running good routes.
Yeah.
How you get open. It really comes down to that. But, I think on the defensive line, it starts from when you first show up on campus, that you have to start. What I learned, and I had some pretty good coaches and some pretty good, mentors in that. The guys ahead of me that were pretty darn good in the program, and it's not just where you're going and how fast you get there. It's knowing what the other team is doing, knowing what they're trying to do to you. Because they can use speed, they can use athletic ability against you if they scheme properly. You need to know the schemes. You need to know the techniques. You need to feel the different blocks. You need to feel the different schemes that they're trying to run. And that's one thing we always taught, and that I learned really early on. Not only that, when Coach Johnson walked up to me and I was 235 pounds and said, "Hey, we need a defensive tackle. Can you play defensive tackle?" It was pretty much I wasn't going to overpower anybody in there. So I had to learn some technique real quick on the run. And but I think that's the key. That's the key to playing. Listen, if you're a 4-4, 4-5, 4-6, 4-7, whatever your flat out speed is, you're only going to play that fast if you know what you're doing and you know the technique you're playing. That
is true.
Sorry to pontificate on that, but I got a little excited.
No, hey, Coach, I get it. You having flashbacks, because we had last week, we had one of your players, Kenny Holmes, on.
My God, Kenny. Yeah. Kenny still to this day, don't tell him I did this, because when I got back to UM as a coach, he was creeping up to catch me in total sacks. He says, "Coach, you pulled me out of the game. You didn't let me get to you." Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I'm not saying anything. Okay, no one's telling. Don't say anything on that department. So.
Hey, Greg. By the way, I'm in bureau right now, and I'm supposed to see him after the show. I promise, I won't say anything. Scout's honor.
If you don't, I'll be disappointed. Shoot.
So, Greg, when you watch, go ahead, Gary.
You just talked about how you played some inside and without question, you were one of the better defensive ends to play in this program through the years. But they asked you to play inside, and we're seeing that a little bit this year with Akeem Mesidor, who was asked to play inside when he's probably better on the outside. And we're kind of watching Ruben Bain on the outside, and I watch Ruben Bain, and I'm thinking, man, he would be an unbelievable defensive tackle. If they move inside. Talk a little bit about the dynamics of those positions and guys swinging back and forth, and what makes one guy better suited for the inside or the outside.
Well, I mean, obviously there's physical attributes that come into play. Coming off an edge, turning a corner, changing direction, usually are more suited for your 250, 260 and under guys that can move that way. Now there are some exceptions. Don't get me wrong. I think Ruben is exceptional at his change of direction. But to your point, I think he would be a beast at a 3 technique. I mean, he would be in the mold of Warren and
I said John Randall.
He's not quite as big as Russell and Cortez, but he has that kind of ability. I think.
Hey, Greg, I said John Randall. I said
John Randall. I don't know John Randall. Heck, he didn't play at University of Miami. I don't care about him. Sorry, John. But yeah, most definitely. You're in that mold. Listen, the closer you get to the ball on the defensive line, the faster your thought process has to become. Unless you're just a big body. If you're just if you're a 300-pounder and you got crazy, if you're Cortez Kennedy, Jerome Brown, who have excellent athletic ability, but they're also powerful beings, man. Those guys were hard to move. But if you are, a normal human being, I'll say that, the closer you get to the ball, the faster things happen because the faster the ball's in. So, you're getting more combination blocks. You're getting more, you have to react at the point of attack a lot faster. The further you get away, you get a little bit more time, and you can make up with some speed. But it all comes down to what Lamar said earlier. It's all about technique, getting your hands in there, learning the blocks that are coming at you. Listen, the offensive line has a scheme. Those big fat guys sit in the meeting room and they scheme and scheme and scheme and scheme how they're going to. Sorry, Art Kehoe, if you're listening. But those fat guys sit in the meeting and they scheme the heck out of you, and they just want to get that one step on you. You got to know what they're trying to do to you. You got to know where to place your hands. You got to know where the pressure is, where to get off blocks, where you're going. What I see out of our guys, that's frustrating in these last weeks, and I know you didn't ask this question, but is we're running a defense, but we're not playing the game. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes any sense to anybody, but to me, we're not playing our position. We're playing the call, and we're running. And you see guys that are kind of running in a gap, and they look like, where the hell are you going? You look at it, you sit there, where are you going? Why are you opening up a big ass hole out the backside? Because they don't understand, or at least it seems like they don't understand what's happening to them, and they're just, it's frustrating, just to say the least. So anyway, I don't know if that answered your question, Gary, but I had to get that off my chest.
How hard is it to swing back and forth, Greg? Between tackle and end.
Well, it depends. If you're doing it on a every down basis, first, second, third down, it's difficult. It is. If you're doing it in situations where you're getting third and long, you're getting in a pass or blitzing package, nickel package, or whatever you're doing, now you're specializing in something, so it can be a little bit easier. But yeah, like I said, the blocking at the line of scrimmage, the closer you get to the ball, happens that much faster. So you have to be physically able, but also you have to be coached and learned on the fact of what they're doing to you, so you know how to react. Got to know how to take on a slip block, a down block, a fold block, a double team, a slip block. There's so many different ways, but there's only so many ways they can block you. So if you know them, then you can react a lot faster. So to answer your question, it is hard on an every down basis, but it's something that can be learned if that's what you're doing, and you have guys like a Ruben Bain. he can play both. He can do both. I mean, if on a fourth or third down and long, third down and long, you can put him on the edge. He's not a bad edge rusher. I've seen him come off. He's a beast. He's tenacious. He's got effort. He's got technique. You know, I think he'd just be better a little bit closer to the ball.
Hey, let me ask you this. So when you got to the University of Miami,
yes, sir.
And who did you learn from? Because here's the thing that, you know, most of these guys, they're coming in here, they're transferring in, they're in the portal. You know, we got Ruben, who was a freshman. Who did you learn from? And let's see how you were able to navigate this. Who'd you learn? Who was there when you got there?
Oh man, let me tell you, bro. When I got there, I didn't know what I was getting into. Are you kidding me? I came from New Jersey, and I don't know if you guys seen the movie Animal House. That's the fraternity I came into. I had no idea what I was getting into. But you know, when I came in, I thought I was going to be I thought I was a tight end, you know, skilled guy outside, you know, end rusher. No. You got to get in the trenches. You get in there and battle it out a little bit. But who we learned from? Guys we learned from. Dan Stubbs taught me a lot about rushing.
Now, is he from New Jersey too?
He's from New Jersey as well. Yes, New Jersey. Yes. Jerome Brown was in the middle. Dan Cilio and all his craziness. He was actually a pretty darn good teacher. He was a heck of a ball player. He got after it. You know, had a Derwin Jones was another tackle that played for many years in there. You know, Bill Hawkins, Kevin Fagan was a defensive end. Now that's another guy you look at and you sit there and go, Kevin Fagan, he'd probably be better at a 3 technique, but that guy, you know, he set an edge and did his thing. He was a beast. Those were the starters, I believe. I may miss one or two, and I'm sure I'll think of them. But you know, when I first came in, it was eat or be eaten. We had 124 scholarships. They threw you in there, and you fought for what if you wanted to eat, you had to fight. You know, and really what that created for us, I think, is you either had to learn how to play the game properly, and then, you know, obviously I had a couple decent coaches, as you know, Butch Davis. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson was there. Campo was our DB coach. Coach Alexander, who you know was you know, we had Tuberville. You know, God bless him wherever he went now these days. But heck of a ball coach at his time. Ogeron was a GA. You know, so we had some guys that knew, and they knew how to play the game. They knew how to teach guys to go out there, and not to say that they're the end all be all, but had some really quality coaches that really taught us how to go out there and get after it. And you know, it was a huge experience, as you well know, Lamar. You know, the locker room culture. You know, listen, we're not only at the time, I think that, you know, as far as alumni coming back and the community we have as former players, is probably the greatest, if not one of the strongest. But that's why it is, because we fought, we went out there and we battled together and we learned, and it was a growing process. And I'm ever the better for it right now. So,
well, I tell you this, Greg, talking about learning, I learned a lot being on that scout team.
I didn't get to that. But yes, that was part of it too. There was a Green Tree Field. I don't know if you got one of them T-shirts. Green Tree Field.
Yeah.
You know, man.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt, you either cut your teeth or you got gone. There was no transfer portal. It was just a get out the door portal. You didn't make it.
Well, my freshman year, Willie Williams went AWOL. Okay, Gino Toretta and Joey Colworth was not running the option. So guess who they put in the option quarterback? So I had to see Greg Mark and Bill Hawkins every day that we ran option. Bill Hawkins would just bear hug me. Greg, you would just push me down. And so it was like, man, I hate these guys, man. I really don't like them. And you learned, you really learned. Like, and I would go into the games like, I'm a freshman, so I'm watching the other team warm up, and I would kind of go down there by them and say, hey, number 10, you're going to get crushed today. I was you.
But that,
it was a true learning experience.
I mean, but that's how it was. You can ask Alonzo Highsmith. He curses me every time he sees me, even to this day. He goes, "Your scout team, I hated you fuckers. I don't know where we're at. I hated you guys.
You're good. You're okay.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I hated you guys. You guys used to crush us. We had Jimmy Jones and Cortez and myself and Wills Pegues was the other. We're all, you had Bernard Clark was a linebacker, Maurice Crum, and that was our scout team coming at you. So yeah, to your point, Lamar, 100%. That was fun. That was that's where that was the proving ground. That was the learning ground. You learned that then when you come in on Saturdays, it's like, oh, these guys suck. Our scout team is better than these guys, but that's how it is. And unfortunately, in today's game, the way it is, I don't think they get. I don't think they're allowed to get to that point that we were. I mean, for many reasons, but for rules and regulations. But you're also not allowed to coach. I think you're restricted as a coach from coaching guys hard. Lamar, if you went into the locker room and you cried because you didn't want to play quarterback, what was going to happen? Could you transfer? Did you have an option?
First of all, there's no crying in there.
Well, no,
because you'll be done for 4 years. You might as well just go to class.
You learn to win. You learn exactly. You didn't have another option. You either got better, you gave it more effort, and that's the way you learned. So anyway. I don't know. I've seen these guys practice. I know they practice hard. I know they do a lot of good things. But that was the way it used to be back in the day. As everybody says, we walked uphill to school and back. The whole thing. But it was definitely a learning experience where you had a chance to develop, learn your skills, learn how to battle, get out there. You got your ass drugged through the dirt a few times, and you got ran over. You got up and you learned how to freaking wipe it off and go forward. That's.
Hey, Greg, I'm gonna say one drill, string out drill. Man, I Gary, I'm not gonna lie, I would have nightmares about string out drill because basically you're just you were basically fresh meat, and you got guys like Greg Mark. I'm supposed to beat him to the corner, and he ain't stopping. So what I learned was the big guys, they're like freight trains. They can't stop. And so they might hit you at the 2, but you're going to be on the other field when they stop. Okay? So I would try to cut back. I would try to do all kind of stuff, man. It was that drill in itself made guys think, am I good enough for this?
I really want to do this.
I really want to do
this. That string out drill. Ooh. You had lined up as a defensive, either end or an outside linebacker. You had to beat the initial block. You had a lead blocker and then a running back. But there was really no cutback. It was just running to the sideline. So you beat the block, you rip through the next block, and then the running back just depends. Depends who he is. If he knew how to get out of bounds or fall down, probably didn't get hit too hard, like Lamar said. But there was some guys. How about Rod Carter used to cut? I don't know if you had a chance to go through.
Oh yeah. That was my scout team. That was during the same time. So I was just happy I wasn't a fullback. See, I was happy when I rolled that thing. I would hear that guy get crushed. So I'd come down the line and Bill Hawkins would just be waiting on me with his arms open. You were kind of tricky with it. You would wait till I get like right up on you, and then all of a sudden you show up and just shove me down. I'm like,
I didn't want to hurt you, Lamar.
I appreciate that.
I like you. You gave a lot of good effort. There was a couple guys that talked a little trash. They had to, they learned.
They were the guys that made you guys have to run that play again. And I found out when you guys have to run that play again, somebody's gonna get hurt.
Well, here's the thing. you run that play again, we already know the play's coming.
Yeah.
So yes, somebody's getting paid back for that one.
Hey, Greg, you've had a front row seat really for this whole season. I know I saw you out at the preseason practices, and you try to get out there quite a bit. And obviously, you've been to the games and you've watched the road games and stuff, and you've seen this whole thing evolve to where we now have this win or go home situation on Saturday at Syracuse. What do you think of the whole body of work and just where this team has come from, where it is today? What do you think of the whole thing?
Oh, Gary, don't think you just throw a freaking. Do I get to write an essay on this one? What the hell?
Absolutely, man. You got the floor.
Hey, we got time before you get to your wife's potato casserole.
Oh, yeah, she's downstairs. Going, keep cooking, honey. No, just kidding. She didn't hear me, thank God. No, Gary. No, let me start by saying this. I am totally where I started off our conversation today. I feel like we're blessed. I feel excited. I think, the program has been rejuvenated from top to bottom. As a former player, I'm proud of these guys. I say kids, they're not kids. They're young men now. I mean, that's how I look at them. But I'm proud of the coaching staff. I'm proud of what they've put out there. We're 10-1, okay? Mm-hmm. And we're nitpicking about certain things. We're 10-1. Let's step back for a second and say, we haven't been here in a while, okay? And
a long time.
How they got here, yeah, okay. That's what we're here for as fans and former players and people who love this program, to sit and pick apart what we feel could be better, could be done better. I think offensively, somebody asked me today, I was at the gym, and someone asked me, where do you think Cam fits with all the great quarterbacks? I go, and I'm on the treadmill, and I'm sitting there going, he's the best. I mean, really, seriously, statistically, he's the best quarterback we've ever had at the University of Miami. Is he not? Argue with me, Lamar.
He just
hey, man. Hey, I'm close to Gino. I'm close to Gino, but dang, he's pretty good.
But I'm saying, statistically,
yes.
You can't beat him. I mean, so he's had a great year and a great quarter. Is he a great quarterback? Yeah, hell yeah, he is. So what he's infused on the offense into this program, unbelievable. Love him to death. Don't even really know him. I only met him once. Love him to death for it, because he's going to be a Cane through and through. 1 year, 5 years, doesn't matter. He has done for this program and in his play what where we need to be right now, where we feel we should be. We're in the hunt. I mean, what else could we ask for? Yeah, we went to Georgia Tech. Holy cow, my wife hates me today watching that. She goes, I'm never watching a game on TV with you ever again after that game, because she goes, you're angry and you're screaming and you're yelling, and I want to enjoy the game. I go, honey, I hate to tell you, you've been with me for 20 years. That's how I enjoy the game. But have we been frustrated? Let me back this up, okay? Offensively, I think for all of our positive, for all the stats, for all the score, I think we could be better, and helping our defense at controlling the ball a little more. These 2-minute drives, great, you score, but does it matter when 4 minutes later it's 7-7? Let's drive that ball. Let's do it Georgia Tech to us. Let's take time off the clock. Let's run the ball. And I think that's what we did a little bit better last week. Honestly, I think that was evident. They just drove. They stuck with the run. They kept their game plan. They didn't just drop back and throw the ball. Sorry, Lamar. They didn't just drop back and throw the ball every down, and they stuck with their whether they got 2 yards, 3 yards, it was positive plays. They kept the clock running. They kept rolling, and they had success. Okay, now we're going to talk about defense, Gary.
Let me pour some more of my Mountain Dew here.
Woo! You might need something a little stronger than that. Holy shit! These guys. you know, it hurts. It not hurts. It tangles me up when I watch because they have so much talent. I mean, yes, could we be faster? Could we be, yes. Could we be in certain areas, in certain positions? Could we be a little more experienced? Yes. I think we have some youngsters playing some positions that are still learning. But, you know, the understanding of gap responsibility, the understanding of, eye discipline, the understanding of where your leverage is. Holy shit. I mean, I would go back to freaking kindergarten with some of these guys, because, if you're the edge guy, set the edge. Don't set the edge and then jump inside, and then you gave up the edge. It's yours, and no one else is out there.
That's why he was on the bench last week.
If you're the inside guy, I'm talking the whole defensive backs included. They throw these little screen or flare passes. Set the edge. You got guys. Hold on. There's 10 other guys over there coming this way. Set the edge. Let them come help. I mean, just some of the frustrating things. You're rushing a passer. Don't jump. I don't want you to block the pass. I want you to sack the guy. Because you jump, everybody coming in like this and they jump, and what happens? Quarterback gets outside of them. Spins out, and then next thing you know, you're giving up a big play. Little things like that. And again, and I'm nitpicking because those little things create big problems in the long run. From my standpoint, and I'm looking at it very technically, they give up big chunk plays. Sometimes that's going to happen. You run a defense, you think you're thinking they're going to pass. I mean, there's many times we ran blitzes back in the day. We're blitzing, pull the ball. Oh, he handed it off. Oh, roll boy. You're out of position. You called, you gambled and you lost, and then you hope you rally and everybody gets to the ball. But all that being said, the thing I do see about these guys, they play hard. They run to the ball. They care. I don't see a lot of tackle for a 3-yard gain, get up and pound your chest and do a dance. They gain 3 yards. Get the fuck back to the huddle and shut up and get back in there ready to do it again. That's too much. You want to get them back the other way. So, sorry, I don't.
No, you're good. Good, coach.
But,
good.
But I mean, those types of things I don't see that don't frustrate me. The things I see that frustrate me are maybe them trying to make everybody thinks they got to make a play. Just play your position. Do your responsibility and trust the guy inside you. Trust the guy outside you. Trust the guy next door. That to me is the most frustrating. The other thing is I see, pass rush is kind of where I may have a little bit more, critique. You got to get on the edge. You got to get on half a guy. If you watch a lot of this pass rush, and when we do have success, it's you might be down the middle, and then you get to an edge, and you use your athletic ability around them. Recognize the pass block, get into your pass rush technique a lot earlier. Don't run down the middle. You're not going to bull rush your way to the quarterback, right. And you end up giving those quarterbacks who are already dancing around back there time to either find the second, third receiver, and it's giving ourselves a chance, getting ourselves when you're in a third and long situation, it's giving they're being able to reset the downs, which is a little frustrating. So that's kind of a small question or small answer to your question. If you and me, Gary, want to talk afterwards, I got a couple hours to talk to you about a few things.
No, it's funny because I'm watching in midseason, and at that point, I think we're 6-0 or whatever. I'm thinking like, this is unbelievable. I mean, like this team is just like, it's like they're just starting the season. I mean, the upside has to be so severe because I'm seeing all the same things you're seeing. And I'm like this is different than 2017 because we were winning games in 2017 the same way, the close games, miracle plays, that kind of thing. But there wasn't the kind of hope that I felt that we had with this team, this quarterback, this season. And so I've been waiting week after week after week. When is this team going to put a complete game together? When are they going to peak? We're going into week 12 now at Syracuse. I still say the best game that we've played was week 1 in Gainesville. It's amazing to me. I mean, I've never seen anything like this. It's insane.
I hear you, and I think the frustration is well deserved, and your thoughts are well deserved, because there hasn't been a 3 phases domination, and even in Florida, even in that first game. Remember, right before half, Cam
gave up a long run.
Fouls out. They took off and brought it within a touchdown. We scored right at the end of the, right before the half, and kind of made it, maybe took the life out of them a little bit more, thinking, but it wasn't. If we
that was a blown assignment. That was a blown assignment too, on the long run.
Yeah, went out the back door. And,
yep.
Nobody.
There was nobody setting the edge.
I've never seen, and I watch games. I've never seen so many big plays. What do they call them now? Chunk play. I don't know what they have some phrase.
Chunk plays.
Oh, yeah, chunk plays, whatever. When nobody on our defense touched the runner once, and he's gone. I mean, how does that even happen in life? I mean, okay, break a tackle. Okay, we can teach you how to tackle. Bow an assignment. Okay, maybe once, maybe twice. But I want to tell you right now. I mean, that's what's frustrating you. When we start to gain that momentum, Gary, to your point, is we start gaining momentum. Play a couple complete series. We get out in 3 and outs. We score. We get up 14. We get up 17, and then we give up one of those plays, and they're right back at it. And it's like you sit up and sitting in the stands. I go, literally, I'm like all fired up, and then, what are we in for now? What miracle freaking play we got to pull now?
I've been saying maybe this week, maybe it's going to come together this week. And here we are, week 12. We're going to Syracuse, win or go home. I mean, the season's essentially over if you don't win. You're not going to the ACC championship game. You're not going to the playoff, and you're going to play in a bowl game that half the team's going to sit out of.
Sure. No, I get it. No, I we were talking about that today. This is, the positive to that, though. There, let's bring it back. Let's swing it back around to the positive side. I don't want to stay on the negative side of it. Is we are in that position.
We're in that position
now.
Maybe it'll be this week.
Yeah. Well, hey, better late than never.
I'm right. I would love to see it.
No, but I think to your point, Gary, I think playing and competing for 60 minutes, we haven't done. You're right. I mean, I don't know if we've done it at all this year. We haven't put a complete game together from from play 1 to play 70 or 60 or 50 or whatever how many it's called for on defense. Offense, we've been close. We've done some good things, and we're gonna. There has been some lulls there on their side as well, but for the most part, on defense, it's. I don't like the play. I don't like the one thing I don't like is, and to this point is, we go down. I hate when we score first. Easy. Go down. Oh, fuck. We're going to be down 21-7 when this is over. Right after this, we went up 7-0. Because, and I don't know if it's a mentality on our sidelines, but I hated it. I hated it back when I was coaching. I remember we ran a kickoff back against Florida when they were in Orange Bowl way back then. And we're like, yeah. And everything. We're down 24-7, and we're, it's not going to win because everybody thought it was over. It's going to be easy. It's not easy. You got to go out there and play. 60 freaking minutes. Play. If you're not playing, and even if you're up, stop looking at the scoreboard. Stop worrying about success. Stop worrying about this. Play. Do your job. 60 minutes. Do your job. Be a professional about it. Go out there and you only have. And I try to tell. And it's hard to get this across, especially. And you tell me, Lamar, because we think we're going to play forever. Think we're going to be around forever. We're going to live forever. You got 12 games. You got 12 games. Okay, break it down. If you're splitting time with somebody, how many plays is that per game? So you got 30 plays a game. So That's how many plays you got in a year. And what are you going to do? You're going to take a few off? Hell no. Come on, play. I don't care if it's the end of the game and you're up by 3 touchdowns. Stat time. Get a few more stats. They don't care. I'll tell you what, in the stat book or in the books at the end, they don't say, oh, he got this touchdown or he got this sack when they were up by 3 touchdowns or they got this sack against San Jose State. Nobody gives a crap then. You got it.
You got it.
Put it in the books. Play. You only got so many plays, Gary. Go out there and get it done. I don't get it. These guys, and that's what it seems like sometimes. And I'm sorry to get fired up over it, but it's like, some of that stuff to me, obviously it's technique and play, but it's also mentality. Just you got, and part of it is, like I said before, knowing your assignments, knowing where your help is. That part of mentality comes in, but play. It's frustrating also on defense, and I'm sorry to go on a rant here, but it's frustrating on defense that I watch this tackling. I don't know how many of you guys watch tackling, but if you're pissed off at tackling,
or is it me?
What's that?
Huh?
I'm pissed off at tackling. You're pissed off. I hate watching our defense. I hate watching defense today tackle because as a defender, you're kind of in that middle area where I don't want to hit them too hard because I might get a penalty. And they go in with a shoulder. I mean, listen, Butch Davis back in our day, we'd say, you're going to get an assist if you jump on it's called jumping on the pile. So if you watch the way we swarm to a play, one guy hit, there's 8 guys coming because everybody wanted an assisted tackle. And everybody that was running that pile got an assisted tackle. Because
that's a question I wanted you on the show for, because I've always wondered this. How do you so if a guy a sack, is it the first guy who touches them, or is it, because I always want, it seems like 2 guys get the sack. I mean, they split it up in half. What if 3 guys get the sack? What if 3 guys they give a third of a sack? How does that work?
I've never given a third of a sack up. And I mean, that's embarrassing. Okay. Yeah, I got 33 and a third sacks. No, I wouldn't do that to anybody. But it really comes down to, like, when we used to do it, we'd come in on Sunday mornings and I'd have to grade everybody. I'd have 4 players, 2 ends, 2 tackles, and I'd grade everybody, go back and forth. Their get off, their technique, their responsibility, and then their effort, and then their stats. And, so you go through, and so coaches go through. And obviously, if a guy's giving effort and the play is still viable, I did air quote you there. So if a guy's giving great effort and he just dives on a pile, we might give him an effort assist. But when it comes to sacks, it really, first guy that hits him is usually, depends if the guy if the quarterback has the ability to make a football move and then another guy comes in, he'll just, that first guy would get a quarterback pressure, and the other guy would get the sack. Unless you're Kenny Holmes. If you're listening, Kenny Holmes, I used to take sacks away from you because I didn't want you to catch me. Just say. No, but to your point there, a lot of it is situational on a coach's standpoint. If the defense is putting the effort in, a guy on defense, wherever, and they're piling, like, again, back to the point where you get these pile-on assists. We've given assists. I mean, that's part of it. You get 100% in your technique or effort, or you get whatever, a plus, or whoever grades what. But then if you're giving that effort and you're going to run from the right hash 30 yards downfield and you're going to dive on a pile, I'm giving you an assist. It's got to be somewhat viable to the play. The guy can't be three minutes after the whistle, and but you know what I'm saying. I mean, we're going to give you. We're going to. At that time, we felt that we wanted to reward our guys with that effort. That's what we wanted to cultivate in our defensive meeting room. We wanted to say, watch this guy. This guy made a great play, but watch this guy to way back over here that got off a block, retraced, came back down the field, and inserted himself on the play. A lot of times you'll see that happen on fumbles downfield. The D line gets got. That's the guy that's hustling. That's the culture of defense you want to create. So again, long answer to your question, but yeah, part of it is, like I said, Kenny Holmes. I'm sorry, you didn't catch me, but that was my fault.
Hey, okay, I'm gonna take you back, okay? Because I want to talk about this, and we talk about how kids are different now. They're being coached different. Arkansas. Okay, how many games you lose? How many games did you lose in your college career? Maybe 5.
One hand. And I'm counting my freshman year too.
Okay.
My redshirt freshman
Do you remember?
year. I was 55-5.
There you go. I'm right along with you. I'm right along with you. So
yeah, I know you are.
two things here. Okay, the Arkansas game. You talk about a guy being untouched. The only time I've ever seen that in my time at UM, Barry Foster against Arkansas.
At
the
right Orange Bowl.
middle.
In the Orange Bowl.
Yes, right up the middle. Untouched. Yes. Okay. What was that meeting like? And then I have another question, but what was that meeting like? Because I'm sure.
Well, I'm going to tell you here, okay? I'm going to tell you what we ran there, okay? Remember,
all right.
That was the first time because we were on their 20, so they were coming out, and I was playing a right defensive tackle at the time, and we were running this new defense, the bear front. I don't remember. We had two fronts. Right. And we had two fronts, and really, from year 1 to year 4 in my career, we had two fronts, Canes and G, and the only difference was the tackle was either shaded on the center, and G he shaded on the guard.
And it was 2 in play. It came two in play.
Hey, if we needed to play, didn't matter what they came out in. That's what we were playing. Everybody knew what they were doing. And but to answer your question, we ran bear front that time on that play, and that was the only play ever in my career where I hit and that thing was through the line. I hit and I hit my gap, and that Barry was through the line before I turned and I looked. It was the first time I saw. I didn't realize there was an arc like the Orange Bowl had like an arc. I was like, I never looked that far down the field. He was out the gate. To answer your question, we won the game, so the meeting wasn't that bad, but there was definitely some criticism. I think it was more, and I'll use a example of a former coach, Don Solinger. Donnie used to, he was the best that motivated, best that He said it was more of a meeting like this, and I don't know who exactly was responsible. I don't want to call anybody out, but their name was on the board on the depth chart. Well, after that play, when they didn't do their responsibility, their last name got erased. He goes, "You do that again, I'm erasing your first name, and you know what happens to you? You disappear.
You become a student."
Student athlete, take the athlete off the back.
Take the athlete off. There you go. But so here's what I want to get to. Okay, yes. 5 losses. How many were in the postseason? Maybe one. One or two.
I can't tell you I can maybe tell you 3 of the 55 wins, but I can guarantee I can tell you all 5 losses.
Okay. So what I'm getting to.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. My first year as a redshirt freshman, lost to Florida. In the Orange Bowl. That was the last time, which still to this day, when we change all our uniforms up, pisses me off because we decided as a team to wear all orange. Got our ass beat, never wore it again. We wore orange jerseys, white pants at home,
white pants,
and orange on the road.
We knew exactly what we were wearing.
And then then we went. Then we lost to Tennessee that year, so I don't even count that one in the Sugar Bowl. We lost to Penn State, 86, in the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah. Then the next year it was our first. Gary, you tell me if I'm right. I know I am, but I'll let you. It was our first undefeated season at the University of Miami history in '87, and then '88 we lost up the controversial game up in Notre Dame.
And Notre Dame, yeah.
Yep. We went the week before. We came back against Michigan, and then we won 31-30. I think we lost 31-30 up there. So, and then we lost to Florida State. So I lost three in-season games.
Okay, so here's what I'm getting to.
You're talking about. Sorry to get to your point. So
no, you're good. No, you're great, because here's what I'm getting to. What do we remember most about those 3 losses? Because I'm gonna tell you what I remember. The practice, the 12-minute run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
oh my God, Gary!
The price to pay, and that's the thing. You lose the price to pay. It's not just another game. Oh my
God!
You weren't expected to lose. And Gary, let me tell you, the meeting rooms were one thing, but practices.
God. Oh man!
There was no sympathy. Let's put it that way. We were expected to win. We expected to go out there, and we were good enough to win all those games. Lamar. I mean,
that
12-minute run. We come back.
12-minute run, Gary. Oh my God!
It was like a walk around. Yeah.
It was great. Everybody, Gary. So we had to run. So the way it was set up, it was like 100 yards, right? And in the middle, we had to sprint 40 yards. Okay.
Yeah,
we had to sprint 40 yards. Right.
Yeah,
we had to sprint.
Set up the 40. Yeah.
But that was just one side. When you won, you sprint 40 yards, guys. Let's die. You had a partner. Yeah, you joking around. I beat you. And you go around, then you jog the whole 100 yards, and you come back. Well, when you lose, Gary, and I only lost 5 games too, and that's why I was asking. You had to sprint both freaking sides. Gary, Gary, I'm a freshman. And I said, man, I wasn't even playing. Why I got to run both sides? I almost quit. I never experienced no shit like that. I said, I don't want to lose ever. And it made us, because we were like, hell no, man. No. Isn't that what you remember about those 3 losses?
No. I mean, I vaguely remember we didn't lose that many games to Lamar.
That's what I mean.
But yes, the lesson was learned. It was like Grandpa saying, "Go pick out the belt I'm going to beat you with." And then my grandpa told me to do that, and that's what I remember. But he never beat me. But me having to go get that belt was the turmoil. But that's the same thing. I mean, again, it's expectations. And to Gary, I know you were mentioning it coaching wise and how you coach these guys. I think you said it, but it's a little different these days. Obviously, you don't have the full attention of your whole roster at all times. I think and that's a very polite way to say it. I think, but you're always trying to obviously coach hard, but also not piss anybody off. Trying to keep your roster together. You're trying to develop and grow, and to do those things, Lamar. Like you said, you wanted to quit. Well, now, there's a magical door that opens up every December.
Black hole, the portal.
And and that's something that coaches got to really think about. I get it. Yeah. I feel their pain. I feel. How would you like to be coaching now? And you have to recruit in the spring, get your underclassmen, recruit in the fall, get your high school seniors, then recruit in the fall again your actual players you have on your team, and then go out and recruit other people's players that are in the portal or who magically show up in the portal after some deal is made up. It's freaking nuts, man. It's nuts, and it's. I don't think the coaches are getting. Everybody talks about how much they're getting paid. I don't think they're getting paid enough.
Okay, here's what I got for you, Coach Mark. Okay, yes, could you imagine those lip smacking? Start it over.
Riverside.
I mean, could you imagine?
I don't even know. No, I mean,
no. And what we're saying, I'm sorry for you guys that don't know, that's Jimmy Johnson telling us to start a goddamn practice over when if it's 24 periods, we're at period 23. And he's saying start it over.
Start it over. Riverside. Or if someone got hurt,
somebody got hurt.
Break. There's no break.
No.
You just turn the drill around and leave the guy hurt on there's a Riverside and turn it around. Let's go the other way.
Where's KO? Where's KO?
Yeah. Trainer, take care of him. Get him out of here. Riverside, let's go. You know, obviously times have changed and how we deal. And kids and kids these days, you know, listen, when I came to the University of Miami, I didn't really know anything about the University of Miami other than watching like 4 or 5 games on TV. I watched, you know, that 84 year I came out, I graduated in 1985, came in, and the visit we took, obviously, but I saw them play the Maryland game. They lost. You know, came back. Maryland, that crazy comeback, the greatest comeback from. I watched them play the Hal Flutie game. It was on TV. Then they played in the Fiesta Bowl maybe that year against UCLA, and it was like a crazy shootout. But they were all over the place. I remember watching Melvin Bratton dive over piles. I was like, man, I love these guys. That's what I knew about the University of Miami. I had no idea it was Coral Gables. I had no idea. And then I came down on a visit in, you know, early January before signing day. And
who was your host?
There was that's a whole nother story. That's not why I came. Let's put it that way. The host was a great guy, but didn't really know how to host. Let's put it that way. The way I wanted to be hosted.
The way you wanted to be hosted.
No, but I came down and there was you know, a foot of snow back home. I get here and it's palm trees. It's 80 degrees. Coach Davis and another alumni I shall not name. You know, we went to Monty's and we went out on a boat. We had food and other, you know, things going on. Hanging out. I'm like, I'm not going home. I'm gonna call my mom right now. I'm staying. I'm not even gonna finish here. You know, and that's really what I knew. To that end, the point now, there's so much more information. Players are so in tune with what's going on, where it's going on. Now it's all about branding. It's you know, there's a whole nother market that didn't exist back then. And you know, and you came and, you know, when I thought about it being here, and you tell me, Lamar, I never thought about transferring. Even though even when I go back to my room in Nuffield, that wasn't an option. The option was get better or don't.
Because you're going to end up getting beat by Miami. That's the way I looked at it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You get better, you battle. There was no out. There was no back door. You had to put the time and effort in, and the care and the love, and I think that's why our brotherhood in our alumni group is, you know, I think everybody may, and I hesitate to speak for everybody, but I feel like everybody's kind of been in that boat. We all been in that room where we're sitting there doubting ourselves, looking in the mirror, going, "Do I belong here? Am I good enough? Am I, you know, really? Oh, I could go back to, you know, whatever you, and I can be happy there." Hell no. You battled on, and we became what we became, and, you know, steel. What do they say? Steel hardened steel, or whatever. Steel sharpened steel. And we went out there, and, you know, that today I think doesn't exist for a lot of reasons. Not because it's not desired, not because the coaches don't believe, but just because of the environment that we have. There's other avenues, and there's back doors, and there's, you know, you can't coach the way, you know. I don't know who was screaming at you. I don't know who was screaming at you, but you know, I might have been cursing that coach under my breath, but, you know, I got to show up the next day, and like I can go anywhere else. They coached me hard, and I was better for it.
Well, here's the second part of that. Here's the second part of that. Okay, so now you put yourself in the coaches today. Okay, now you're sitting there recruiting this kid and his parents, who the parents can now come on visits. Okay, they get flown down, or whoever they get flown down. So you got a whole lot of people that you're entertaining per se, but guess what? They don't give a F what you're saying, because all they want to do is get to the NIL guy.
They want to go meet with the collective. Yeah.
They want to go meet with the collective. So all the shit that we got this great building over here. Oh, the Catholics, they don't give up. How is that? How is that? The money.
Yes.
Could you imagine the money? I always say we were hungry. We wanted better. We had 2 jerseys. We wanted better. We had the worst facility. We wanted better. The only way you get better is by winning. And that was our get back. And so now, but you already have the money. Everybody has the money. How they, I don't know. I don't know how hungry I might have been back then.
Well, I think that as well, to be honest with you. I mean, okay, you're defensive end. You got a 320-pound pulling guard coming your way. I sat out there with Jerome McDougal, sat out there coaching Kenny Holmes. You're going to go down, and you're coming down that line, and you're going to go right through the inside eye of that guy, and you're going to blow him up and wheel upfield, and you're going to create an edge, and it's physically demanding. It'll blow a shoulder out. It ain't easy. You got force on force, but that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they didn't have NILs. They listened. Now, Jerome, on the other hand, it took me a few times. I had to go out there, and we had to learn that trait, because he had a different opinion at certain times, but he'll tell you the story to this day. I mean, that type of mentality is what, it's a competitive, win at all cost mentality that you have to have. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do whatever it takes. It's not about me. It's not about my brand. It's not about my whatever NIL that I have to do. Now, if they had that money, do you think they'd have listened to me as hard? Jerome would have said, maybe I'll just go down there and feather it a little bit. Act like I'm going in there. I got my money. I'm not going to go in there and risk myself.
but we saw the revenge of the coaches last week, Greg.
Yeah.
They took number 9, who's been disappearing for 2 months. They took number 9. They gave him a seat on the bench. He played 2 plays against Wake Forest.
But I'll tell you this, and I hear exactly that, and I'm 100% on board with what the coaches did there. Because the NIL, and I really think that needs to be revised to be production oriented.
There you
There
go.
has to be goals to meet, not just show up because you're a guy we want and go out there and not perform up to your ability. Hey, who wants that? Go play somewhere else. I think the biggest motivator, and I hope it can translate in the NIL world. Biggest motivator is the bench. And what I heard Coach Saban, I think, talk about that. You might have heard, he goes, there's a unique connection from your ass to your brain. when your ass sits on the bench, it sends a signal to your brain. And I don't know the whole story, but I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. Playing time is king. I think, and Gary, I hope that sent a message to that young man, because I think he's got a heck of a lot of talent. I think he's got a lot of skill. And I think, if he goes out there and just plays, stop worrying about everything else, just play the game. Go out there and play for your teammates, play for your coaches, play for the group that's out there. You only got 12 guaranteed. Go play. And if you do that, I think, and Lamar, you tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, we knew going in there, and I don't want to say we were Superman or did anything different, but we knew that team success was based on our individual ability to go out there and do our jobs. But team success meant individual success. You're going to get the accolades. You're going to get the recognition. You're going to get the All-Americans. You're going to get the trophies. And team success, gives you individual success, or creates individual success. It rises up to guys. You could be on a team where You have a guy that's doing all these stats. Well, he gets one little blurb on a Sunday late sports show because he's got 12 catches and 100 yards, but they lost by 2 touchdowns. Nobody cares. You win, you start winning, that gets elevated.
Well, I thought this. Nobody's really going to watch the Blue Bonnet Bowl, but they're going to watch the Orange Bowl.
Without a doubt. I don't even know if they have the Blue Bonnet Bowl still.
I don't think so. That was a bowl game that Florida went to a couple times. Independence Bowl, Blue Bonnet Bowl.
Lamar.
They got the Weed Eater Bowl though, like in Shreveport, not Shreveport. It's maybe it was Shreveport. I don't know.
I you know what? Listen, I get it, but here's how I grew up at the University of Miami, and I say I grew up because I wanted a kid left as a bigger kid, but knew a lot more. Still a big kid, but I wanted Sugar Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, Orange Bowl. Hold on, let me see if I get I'm a little older now. I can't remember. So then we went Orange Bowl again and Sugar Bowl to end it. I didn't know there was any other bowls.
I didn't either.
New Year's Day, baby.
Then I came back as a coach and we went to the PlayStation something played new, and I'm like, this exists. Okay, we got another game to play. I guess. I mean, that's how. I don't know. I mean, it's an expectation that we had. It was more so we felt, and I don't want to speak for Lamar, but I felt like it was our given right. That's where we were going. Yeah. We were going to win, and we're going to go to a New Year's One bowl, and in that time, the way it's set up, we were going to go to play for a national championship. There was no conference, there was no anything. That was it. We're going to play everybody.
Our goal.
Yeah,
it's our goal.
And we didn't have a conference at that time. You were around when the Big East came around, I think, weren't you?
Correct.
You played I didn't. There was no conference.
But they didn't have like a Big East championship.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like they didn't have a championship game.
You get more respect if you said I played for I won the Big East as a basketball player, not as a football player.
That was a tough basketball league. You're right. Football, we made it tougher, obviously, going in. I mean, Virginia Tech came out of it, Boston College, Syracuse, obviously, who we played this week. So there was good football teams, but you look at it, and but that's what we it was January 1 or bust. That's really what I would go into the beginning of the season and look at our calendar and go, okay, win. Okay, that might be tough. We have to really show up for that one. I might have to do some extra curls in the weight room before that was a TV game. I mean, I would go through the calendar, and that's how we would approach the season. I mean,
I think we all did that.
I know we did. I don't want to put it out there to make it seem like we're jerks, but we were. I mean, that's but we backed it up. That's how I look at it. You're not a jerk if you can back up what you're talking about. You go out there and do what you got. You play hard, give it your effort. We didn't cry when we got beat. Maybe Jimmy did a little bit about not leaving it up to the refs, but he told us. He told us. He did. As a coach, he told us, do not leave it up to the refs. You're going to get screwed. And that's what happened. We did, and we didn't listen to him, I guess. And that's what happened. So
that's what happened.
Anyway, that's
so Greg. So what happened Saturday with everything on the line? Mario, as a head coach, has excelled in these situations at Oregon. When he had a big game, he always brought his team ready to play. What happens on Saturday up there at Syracuse?
Oh, you're asking me to prognosticate? Where's my crystal
man.
ball? Honey, give me a crystal ball.
She's making that casserole, man.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm not a prognosticator, and I'm not a gambler. I don't care what the spread is. I don't care if we win by 100 or we win by 1. Winning is the goal, obviously, and we want to take care of that. But to your point, I think we show up. I think maybe that second half of last week, we gave up that kickoff, which is disheartening in its own way, but it happens. We gave up the one touchdown, and after that, we put it on lockdown. I don't know what the coaches did. I don't know what they did. They were coming after the quarterback. I could sit and nitpick on technique and what schemes we're running and why we can't get to the quarterback with 4-man rush as consistently as we want. But all that being said, I think we've turned a corner from a standpoint, and I'm hoping that's the game. That's the half. It's not the complete game, Gary, but that's the half that may lead us to the complete game this week. If we can go up there, play with that intensity, run the scheme, trust the guy next to you, play your responsibility, give it the effort that we did in that second half. I feel very confident about our chances coming out of the game with a win this Saturday. But it really comes down to me. Syracuse is a solid team. They run some different schemes. They got the quarterback that has had some. They've had some tough games, but he's shown that he can light it up when he gets hot and he can go at it. So we're going to need to be on our game. We're going to need to show up and it doesn't. It comes down to wanting it, Gary. Really, be honest with you. They either want to pretend to be it or they want to be it. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, to me, I think we're talented enough. Again, notwithstanding some of the technique things and things that we can get better at, but talented enough. I think they're hungry enough. I think Mario will definitely have them fired up. The Dome will be it's an interesting place to play, as Lamar can tell you. It's not your normal venue that you run into. It's you go in and everything suctions in behind you, and you go out of the locker room into it's really an interesting. Once they get past that, that door open, you can't open that door.
Thank God on Saturday, man, it's gonna be 20 degrees out there.
Well, they'll get through that tomorrow, or Friday night when they get up there. They'll go in, hopefully do the walkthrough, and they'll see that. But I feel really confident. I really do. And and again, I'm not a prognosticator. I haven't been out there to watch them practice this week and see where they're at. But I think offensively, they're going to show up the way they have. They have all year. I think they're going to go out there and they're going to be a handful for anybody they go up against. Defensively, I think again that second half of last week, I want to really lean on it because I think it showed. Hopefully, the light came on for a lot of these guys and how good they can be. Now, the downside to that, Gary, is it was Wake Forest. Okay,
Wake Forest that didn't throw the ball after the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, I get it, but it does. Listen, it doesn't. Ask Notre Dame. They played Northern Illinois, got their ass beat. So it doesn't. It's not the name. It's how you got to go out there every day. Doesn't matter what logo's on that other helmet and play the way they played that second half. So that's what I'm leaning on to hopefully they show up and they go up there. And listen, Lamar, you've been in those games. You win or go home. This is where we're at. And let me ask you a question, Lamar. Would you rather it any other way?
Nope.
It's up to you.
This is what the games you come to college for. I didn't come to college to play against Long Beach State. I came to play in the games that meant something, where you become a household. Well, back then it was a household name. Now it's a trillionaire, I guess. I don't know, but it was I just wanted to be a house. I wanted to play in those games and excel with my team and be somebody said, man, that guy, I know that guy. That guy's a good player.
But let me ask you this question: Would you like it any other way than someone to say, listen, it's all up to you. Are you betting on yourself or not?
I'm betting on my team.
God darn right I am. I know what work I put in. I know what work all of us put in from day one. I'm betting on us. Damn right. And Gary, I hope that's where they're at on Saturday, because if they are, it won't be close. And If not, we'll be sweating it
I
out in the
wanna
fourth
see that.
quarter again.
I want to see some ascension, some peak. So heading towards that peak moment that you try to accomplish every season.
Without a doubt. I mean, and it's frustrating as fans and as former players and all alike around is to see the roller coaster. You see how good and when they're doing the thing that they should and how good they can be. And I'm talking mostly defense, by the way, as we all are. I think. I mean, how good we
the
should
offense
be.
is number one in the country.
Yeah, I know. But it could be better, Lamar. We'll talk. You can tell me what you think about that. But there's some things they could do better. I know they don't get open. Hey, listen. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. Cam, I don't know how many. There's going to be a day he ain't going to be able to stand back there for 8 seconds and find somebody to get open. I'll let Lamar pontificate on that later. But on the defense, I think we get frustrated at this. I want some solid. You make a mistake, great. But don't make the same mistake over and over and over and over. Learn from it, move on, put it in your Rolodex, and don't make it again. That was kind of I remember Butch telling us, listen, you get beat, you get up, you come back, you don't get beat again. You know what took, you know what you did. Go out there and do what you're supposed to. And I want to see the defense grow from last week, even though it's Wake Forest. I think. But I think they can. You just need a spark. You need something to, a base to go back to and say, you know what you did here, do it here, and you can grow from it. And I'm hoping. And again, Lamar, you tell me about the route running. And
Well, I can say this, Greg. I can say this. I am so happy that you came on this show tonight because man, it has been very enlightening to see one of the guys I looked up to when I got here. By the way, I saw Mike Pigza last week.
Oh, you did?
I was like, what? Pigza? I was like, and of
Piggs
course,
is up in South Carolina. He lives up in North Carolina, I think. Yeah.
Hadn't seen him forever. And of course, Kelvin Harris. He said, "Tell Dirty Bert I said hi." I don't know what Dirty Bert. Yeah. We'll leave that alone.
I know.
And Miss Jessica says she makes a superb, sweet potato casserole?
Oh,
Is that what y'all gonna be eating? She
told me that'll be part of the mix tomorrow. Yes, of course. Well, that's already been made. She's trying to whole new, make things a little early, and then we, finish them off tomorrow. I'm just a sous chef in the background. Grab this, grab that. I hand it off to her. Then I hope she leaves me alone. I can go watch some football.
Well, you give her a big hug for me and tell her thank you for allowing you to come on the show, man. We love you. Thank you so much, Coach Mark. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you next week when we're going to the ACC championship. How about that?
Yeah, I got my ticket. I didn't want let me back it up. Yeah, I'm thinking about getting my ticket.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Thank you for having me. Listen, all you guys, Gary, Lamar, and everybody have a very happy Thanksgiving. We're blessed to be where we are, and let's go. Let's just go Canes.
Go Canes.
All right, Greg. Great seeing you, man.
Thank you, Gary. Good to see you guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Lamar. Thank you guys for everything.
Yes, sir. That was awesome.
He's the best.
He really is, yeah. But I love the honesty because he's right.
Yes.
Everything he said, he's right. And this team still has so much upside. I mean, we're sitting here 12th week of the season, and we're not being harsh when we say the best game was week 1. I mean, there's got to be more here for this team, and if they can find it this week and the next week, and then build on that in the college football playoffs, I'm not afraid of Penn State or whoever they might end up playing in that tournament. I might be a little afraid of Ohio State, but we'll worry about that when the time comes.
Well, we got to beat Syracuse, man.
Got to beat Syracuse 1-0, baby. All right, so let's take a moment to talk about CaneSwear because Black Friday is upon us. It is shopping season, and if you're a Canes fan and you got to buy some gifts, you want to spread the joy of the Canes, and there is no better place to do that than at CaneSwear, the #1 destination for all Miami Hurricanes merchandise. We're talking T-shirts, jerseys, polos, hoodies, hats, flags, decals, magnets. If it's got a U logo on it, they got it at Caneswear. And great store, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. Lamar's not there tonight, so he couldn't eat his Las Patas next door.
Yep.
But, again, and if you can't get to the store, go to caneswear.com, and you could shop them 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Let's take a moment and give you a sneak peek at the store at Caneswear.
Welcome to Caneswear.
New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
You saw the number on the door, 2655 South University Drive in Davie. And if you can't get there, caneswear.com. They've got you covered. Black Friday coming up on Friday. Make sure you make that visit to either the store or the website at caneswear.com. All right, LT. I did want to get to a couple topics tonight that I think are on the minds of everybody.
What you got?
I'm going to start with Jordan Lyle, okay?
Ooh.
Because we've been watching the Fletcher Martinez two-man show the whole year. I love the way they're using them. They've nursed them through the season, big physical backs. They're going into week 12. They're both healthy like it's week 1. That was the goal. Mark Fletcher hasn't made it through a season going back into high school in a long time. He's making it through this season. Martinez is doing his thing. Okay. They put this Jordan Lyle kid out there last week. Kind of like he played a little bit earlier in the season and did some great things. And AJ Allen too. I mean, every time they put a running back on the field this year, he's done great. But Jordan Lyle was a little different to my eye. He looks like he can be, really something else. And I know, Mario was making some school visits this week and stuff. And I heard when he's out at St. Thomas, he was telling them that they think Jordan Lyle can be one of the greatest running backs to ever play at Miami. Now you're in your biggest games of the year, LT. You got to have them. Do you increase Jordan Lyle's reps beginning this weekend in Syracuse?
I think it gives you a great change of pace. I mean, you say, hey, the other team is like, okay, when the little guy gets in, it's not a power game. Get in front of him and see what happens.
Did you see how physical he was running?
Yes, that's what I mean. Get in front of him and see what happens. You're talking about physicality and speed behind it. Man, he's amazing. Like you said, AJ Allen did well early in the year. So did he. And I said this earlier. I love the fact they have all these guys because it keeps them fresh. It keeps them. And now those two big bruisers. Well, I'd say more Martinez, more of a bruiser than Fletcher. But I love the change of pace, or just the fact you can put one of those guys in. You can put Lyle in there, and he has that ability to take it all the way. I mean, I'm not saying Martinez and Fletcher can't, because they can, but he could even be a short yardage guy, just like they can. He's that powerful. And it's amazing to watch and just think that he's a freshman. Wow. That's amazing, man. I like it.
And, obviously Fletcher and Martinez came into the season expecting to be the guys.
Yeah.
And now you got this true freshman over here who's immensely talented. It might have upset the dynamic a little bit if you rushed this kid out there. I know you're really playing with a slippery slope as coaches in managing a situation when you have this much talent in a room like that. Like on defense, investment, yes, no doubt. It's easy on defense when an OJ Frederick comes in and cornerback's your most challenged position. You roll him out there, and he starts from day one. And you're not offending anybody because you don't really, it doesn't matter. Here it matters. You have 4 dudes in that room, really 5 if when you count Christopher Johnson, who's just sitting there on mothballs pretty much the whole season. That had to be managed. I mean, as a coach, right, Lamar, that had to be managed.
Oh yeah, that's a different type of management. But I've said this all along. The one thing I can say about this staff, just from being around them, I go to practice on Wednesdays. I watch the way the staff interacts with these guys. I mean, they have so many people now that they always are putting their arms around guys and talking to kids. Because understand something, back in the day, you only had 1, 2 coaches. You got 4 or 5 guys in each room, 4 or 5 coaches. I mean, this is what that's for, to be able to encourage, make sure these guys are not losing their interest, talking to them all the time, keep teaching them, making sure they're paying attention. I mean, that's what it's for. And I can give Mario and his staff a thumbs up because they do a great job of making sure that they're not distractions. And what I mean by that, the guy sitting on the side being pissed off and becoming a cancer. Because as we well know, one guy with a cancerous attitude, a locker room lawyer, can really destroy your team, because the day he's been spewing this all the time. Oh, I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Well, when that other guy has a bad day, I hate them too. That's 2 guys. And it continues to spread. And they've done a great job of roster management and making sure these guys, because not only are they coaching, they're also being shrinks with these kids too. And you need it, man.
Now, that takes me to the next subject. Okay. Yeah, and I think you know what it is. Okay, roster management, playing time decisions, keeping the peace in the locker room. It's really been as good as it gets. I mean, you and I are in total agreement on that. They've had some tough things to manage this year. A lot of talent in certain spots. They've done just as good a job as you can do. And then out of nowhere, on a Monday afternoon, okay, this happens. Okay, now let's be honest. I mean, we both know Luther Campbell. I know you're very good friends with him, and we're not sitting here certainly looking to criticize Uncle Luke. I mean, he has 91,800 followers on Twitter. Okay, has been a guy in the community for decades, known by everybody. And one of his players at Miami Edison is in the receiver room, Ray Joseph. And no, he hasn't gotten to play this year. And Lamar, you and I have been out there the whole through the whole stretch and the whole thing. Ray Joseph isn't being discriminated against. He's not being mistreated. He's not one of the best 4 to 5 guys in that room. He's just not. And nobody's being treated unfairly. And out of nowhere on a Wednesday afternoon, we're taking a shot at Kevin Beard, who's actually doing a phenomenal job this year. The receivers are playing great. And the word is being spread throughout South Florida, because those 98,000 people are mostly here. And he does have a big reach in the football community of South Florida, are being told that Kevin Beard is the worst receiver coach in the history of University of Miami football, that he can't develop, he doesn't know how to rotate, and it goes on and on and on and on. That's rough, man. That's rough. I wish he hadn't done it. I know his guy is not getting the play right now. His guy might have to go in the transfer portal and find an offense better suited to his skill set at a level school that might be better suited to his skill set. No argument there. But I wish that had not happened. It wasn't a good look for anybody.
Well, I talked to him, but I told him that he ain't the worst, bro. There was Taylor Stubblefield. There was Josh Gaddis. Them motherfuckers horrible. Okay, so and they
put that kind of spin on it.
and let me tell you something. They did not know how to deal with South Florida and South Florida kids, so they were terrible. But yeah, this was bad timing for this. Oh
my God.
I've lost the job twice to Kevin Beard. at the University of Miami. And this second time, I actually was very happy for him. The first time I was at Louisville with Al Golden. But this time I was very happy for him. I think he's a great guy. He has a different way of teaching and different style. I know there's a lot. Now you have to take in effect, okay, those guys aren't getting played primarily because you think about most of our games have been nip and tuck for a while, right?
Yes.
But also, this is just my opinion. You got a Heisman Trophy quarterback who's staying in the game the whole time.
The whole
right?
time.
You got a coordinator. His job is to put up as many points and yards as he can because guess what? He's also auditioning for a head coaching job. I mean, he's trying to win games, but he's also trying to put up numbers. That's what. And guys, if you think that is anything different than that, then you're sadly mistaken. They're trying to win the game, but they get paid and they get opportunities off of numbers. Why is his name going to be mentioned? Because of Cam Ward and what this offense has put up. Now, but a lot of these games have come down to FAMU, Ball State, whatever. But every other game, if you look at it, it's been kind of nip and tuck because I can tell you this because my heart can't take it. And I enjoy the weeks that they don't play. Okay. So for him, I mean, I get it because he put a lot of time in making sure this kid came to the University of Miami because he was being recruited by a lot of other people. And he could have pushed him to Florida State or any other place, but he helped in the recruiting process. So I get why he's upset. And I also have to understand when I look at it that, Kevin Beard and that they have it's not just him in that room. There's Cooney, there's I forget the other kid's name. He works with the slots. He does an outstanding job. Then you have Casano, you have Joe. It's like 4 or 5 guys in there. And they're on top of everything. And so if he's not playing right now, it's because they're trying to make sure the best guys are out there for them and the offensive coordinator. I don't think it's all Kevin Beard saying the kid shouldn't be in there. I just think that it's
Shannon Dawson likes to rotate 4 guys. Yeah,
it's a bigger deal. And I get it. He helped in this whole process and he's, he wants to see his kid play. And then, at the time when you tell a kid to come here and he's a special talent, you're thinking you're going to see him play. And that's why one of the things, your family and your friends will see you play because you're from here. And it just hasn't happened this year. I mean, I talk to the kid all the time. He has a great attitude. I always tell him, you're this close, man. You're this close. This close. So, I kind of get where he's coming from, but the whole Beard, I like Kevin. He's a good kid. He's a good I call him a kid, but he's the worst. I've seen a lot worse.
Oh, and like I'm looking at this. You got JoJo Trader out there. You got Nikar out there. There's a lot of talent in that room.
The game has changed, Gary. The game has changed. You had Lamar Thomas, Kevin Williams, Horace Copeland, and Darryl Spencer. 4 guys. But guess what? A.C. Tellison, Chris T. Jones, Jonathan Harris, and there's somebody else. They all got to play because we didn't have to be in the game the whole, and we didn't want to be in the game the whole time. We didn't want to. I played maybe 10 plays against Long Beach State. All I wanted was 1 catch, and it was a 5-yard out, and I pulled myself out. I mean, the game has changed, and again, your coordinator is going to be looked upon by his stats. He's going to win the game, but he needs stats to push him to the next level. If you don't believe he wants to be a head coach,
this type of talent every year.
Yes.
This was a unique opportunity for Shannon Dawson to showcase Shannon Dawson and what he can do. And he's accomplished that. I don't know if he's going to get a head coaching job, but he is up for the Broyles Award. This has been a showcase year for him.
I don't know. The Broyles Award don't mean shit to me because of that guy we mentioned from Michigan. If he won the shit, that don't mean nothing to me. What was his name? Josh Gaddis?
Yeah, Josh Gaddis, man.
Oh, have mercy. But I love Luke. I get what he was trying to say, but I think the world of
Say it privately,
Coach
man.
Beard.
Like go. I don't think he would have got turned down if he showed up and sat down in Kevin Beard's office. Like,
yeah, I mean, again, 2 times I lost the job to Beard, so you can't beat him, you join him. I love him.
all right, let's pull up before we go here a couple of these comments that are coming in the chat tonight. Great point by Mad Rapper. He says in 2021, Georgia's secondary faced challenges like the U. They didn't have depth. They struggled with 50-50 balls. They had coverage busts, but they overcame those issues with a dominant defensive line. Defensive line has to step up on Saturday, LT.
They do. And if they step up, it makes it a lot easier on that secondary and linebackers. We need a big game from them. We need to, like I said earlier, if we can get home with a 4-man line and those guys get pressured, rattle this guy a little bit, get to him a little bit without blitzing, that's more guys in the secondary that for an errant pass or a tip pass that maybe we can get some big plays, because all we need is that momentum. In that place in Syracuse, it's all about momentum. Big Mo is being sucked into that place, and Big Mo is being sucked out of it when you open those doors. So that's all we need. If they get home, we should have a great – I think our defense will play great if those guys are able to get home.
Speaking of which, Rashad Mitchell says Canes got to get off to a great start on the road, get that momentum on their side in this game, LT. It's a big deal, big deal.
Well, Greg Mark said he hates when we go up 7-0. I get it. He's telling the truth. Man, that is such a letdown when you're up 7. I'm like, yeah, we're going to blow them out. What? We down? How did this happen?
Now, this is kind of amazing, okay? And this is factual, that the Miami defense is the #1 defense in the ACC. With everything that's gone on this year, all the ups and downs, everything that Greg Mark was talking about, I mean, everything.
Wow.
They are still the best defense in the ACC start to finish.
Wow. That's hey, I'm happy. I mean, I just, I want that second, I want the Florida second half, and I want the Wake Forest second half. We get those two together, we're going to beat the crap out of these guys. There you go, generate some pass rush.
Now, a lot of people are on Tyler Barron because we were talking about him a little bit. And the big comment that I get, and this is now because of NIL, Lamar, robbing Miami blind, stealing checks. These are the terms that you see. I mean,
he showed up. He's not robbing us. I mean, the robbery was in Tallahassee with Oogie Doodoo getting his 800 and a 7-Eleven deal. So, he will, hopefully he learns from, this was a lesson for him. And I saw what somebody said, no wonder Tennessee said adios. Sometimes you need a fresh start. He got a fresh start, and he had to reset it a little bit. And I know Jason Taylor's not giving up on him. And so hopefully, he gets in the game and he should be fresh and he goes and makes some plays. That would be a beautiful thing, because all that will be forgotten if he's able to get a couple sacks, some pressures, and we're able to go to the ACC championship, where we definitely need him. We need guys out there to rush that passer. But
this is what players are going to face today when they don't perform up to expectations. I mean, people always think about the money. The coach isn't living up to his $8 million salary. The player's not living up. People don't even know what he's getting. They just know he's getting paid. And this is the new deal now in college football. All right, Sergeant Major points out that the Ohio Bobcats ran for 262 yards against Syracuse. 3 or 4 other teams were able to ram the ball down their throats. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Lamar,
let's run it.
Watch Mario come into these big games like this before, and he loves to pound the rock when he's playing a good opponent.
You got a 3-headed monster. Let's run it. Let's go. I'm all for it. As a receiver, I want to win. I like to win. I've said this many times before. There was a game at Penn State where they were dropping 8 guys Coach Harrison asked me what's open. I said nothing. Let's keep running it, because winning is addictive and it's intoxicating and everything else. Losing is not. And so what if you have, I did not feel good after having 11 catches, I think, against BYU. It was not a good feeling. It was not a good feeling. We lost the game. So I had 1 catch or 2 catches against Penn State and we won the game. I love that. So let's do it.
Yeah. All right, LT. Well, it's all on the line Saturday, man. It's exciting, but it's not going to be exciting if the Canes don't win. Got to go up there. Got to find a way to get this done. It's right there in front of them. They got to get to Charlotte. Must get to Charlotte.
Yes, must get to Charlotte.
And then we'll worry about the challenge of SMU next week, who's playing the most consistent, best football in the conference this year. That will be something else, but we'll save that one hopefully for next week. Any parting thoughts, LT, as the Canes get ready to go up there?
Just win, baby. Just win. That's all. That's all. By 1 point, 10 points, 50 points. I would love 50 points, man. I would love for you to cover. I don't even know what the spread is. I think it's 10.5. I heard that. I don't care. I just want to win, because guess what? I would love to see Cam Ward continue to play at the University of Miami a couple more games. How about that? Because I don't know if we go to a bowl game if he plays. So let's, this has been the most exciting year we've had in a long time. I don't want it to come to an end. So my parting shot is, like old Al Davis said, just win, baby. Just win.
All right, LT. Well, I hope you're getting ready for your big feast tomorrow. But you're at your mother-in-law's house, right?
Yeah, mother, father-in-law here in Vero Beach. I'm about to call Randy Bethel and Dale Dawkins and Kenny Holmes, and we're gonna go smoke some cigars. How about that?
I was by a store today, and they had a little cigar store in the strip shopping center. There's like 12 old dudes. They're just sitting out there smoking their cigars in like these rocking chairs. And they obviously do this on a regular basis. It was so cool. I mean, I don't smoke cigars, but it's like a cultural thing. Like it's just sit there and smoke your cigar and talk the smack, man.
Talk smack. That's all you're doing. Talking smack.
All right. Well, bring a tape recorder. Maybe next week on the show we can replay some of the conversation amongst you former Canes, wherever you're going to smoke cigars tonight. And, I'd love to be a fly on the wall for that one.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
We all, on behalf of the whole fan base, we wish you a happy Thanksgiving, you and your family. And I don't have to worry about you eating too much. You're too skinny.
No,
but
I eat a lot. Thank you, Greg Mark. And thank you, Miss Jessica, for allowing him to come on the show for almost an hour. Man, he was going. He would have gone. He would have still been going. I love Greg. He's one of the best guests ever.
He was awesome. And all you guys out there, thank you so much for watching once again. And we wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And enjoy watching some football. And get ready for 3:30 on Saturday, baby. It's all on the line for 2024. And we'll be back next week to talk about it, and I'm sure it'll be a good story. And so for LT, I'm Gary. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys next time.
Go Canes. Let's get it.